day, everyone. My name is Nur Atira binti Ramli. Today, my group number 4, we are presenting our research titled Wayfinding for All, Crafting Effective Signage System for People with Sensory Disabilities at Tasik Shah Alam. We conducted this research as part of our AMT 759 Graduate Visual Research module under the Faculty of Art and Design. This study focuses on how public signage systems can be improved to support individuals with sensory disabilities, specifically those who are visually or hearing impaired within the recreational part of Tasik Shah Alam. So the background of the study, signage helps people navigate spaces, but many current systems ignore the needs of people with sensory disabilities. In Malaysia, more than 100,000 individuals live with visual or hearing impairments, and yet most recreational signage isn't inclusive. For example, in Tasik Shah Alam, many signs are faded, contain poor contrast, or are entirely missing. Some signs, like those near trees or restrooms there, have a lack of visual clarity that makes it difficult for visitors to understand or even see them from afar. Research problem and the key issues are, firstly, many signs show poor contrast, such as yellow and white text on green backgrounds that don't stand out, making them hard to read. Also, some signs are chipped and faded, damaging the legibility and the aesthetic of the signage. Secondly, we observe a lack of direction to essential facilities like restrooms, prayer halls. There are no arrows, icons, or maps placed consistently to help users, especially those unfamiliar with the space. Third, maps are only available in selected locations and aren't supported by consistent pathfinding signage throughout the park. That creates confusion, specifically for first-time users or those with cognitive or sensory difficulties. We referred to multiple studies in this research. Imri and Licton and Miller emphasize how poor visual communication in public infrastructure excludes sensory impaired individuals. In Malaysia, Abu Hassan and Noor and Rosli highlighted similar gaps, urging designers to work with disabled communities during the design process. The Forest Preserve District in the US provided a successful example of inclusive park signage using braille and tactile maps.
Hi, my name is Nurda Masin. Continuing our objective were to examine current signage in Tasik Shah Alam to identify the gaps for sensory impaired users, co-develop inclusive visual system, and contribute to public design practices through graduate level research. We apply Sarah Pink's visual ethnography and sensory methods. We observed people navigating the park, documented their interaction with signage using video and photos, and analyze their visual experience. Then, we researched past publication of similar problems and developments about inclusive signage. We wanted our solution to be directly shaped by the needs of those who use them. We conducted interviews using Gilliam Rose framework. From the side of audiencing, we engaged with the management of the park to ask about the feedback and signage that is already installed or maybe some project in the future for people with sensory disabilities. We also included a sign language interpreter and a Montessori teacher to help us to understand how visual processing and environmental interaction vary across sensory and cognitive needs. A graphic designer gave input on technical aspects like font size, contrast, iconography, and color theory that aligning with the side of the image and side of production in Ross's model.
Kita biasa macam ni. So design tu biasa daripada kita lah. And so kita akan co-design and then kita akan photocopy.
Jadi dia akan tengok yang tu saja. Jadinya yang benda yang dekat signage yang banyak-banyak tu mereka tak pandai bantu. Jadinya
image
dia banyak kepada image lah actually.
High functioning ones, they will just look at the picture, they follow the picture on how to use the equipment, the machines.
So, orang sensory ni, most of them tak punya pendidikan. So as long as the image tu ada kontras warna yang tepat, ada visual yang clear, yang universal untuk orang.
Here's what we found. The fonts were too small, the icons were unclear, signboards were poorly placed or too few in number, some signs used dark color or too much text, that overwhelming or confusing some users. So, we suggested using bigger fonts simplified icons, high contrast colors, and more frequent sign placements to make signage look dynamic and noticeable. For autism-friendly design, we propose sensory fonts with generous spacings like soft muted tones like calming, pink, and blues, and simple background. We aim to reduce sensory overload.
Hello everyone, my name is Wanzofaga Azaki and I'm the last presenter. Continuing, for visual impairment, we design braille, signage, vector ground surface, and maps at key checkpoints. This improvement helps users feel more independent and safe in navigating in space. We visualize signage for violence, prayer hall, and general map navigation using bold icons, large arrow, and universal symbols like domes for surround. We also suggest frequent checkpoints along walkway. For blind users, tactile ground style with dot and stripe texture help indicate warnings and direction. For hearing impairment users, visual cue must be clear and consistent. In conclusion, our research provides a practical and inclusive signage design proposal that support the needs of people with sensory disabilities. It aligns with Malaysia goals for universal design. Through visual research and user-driven methods, we learn that accessibility is not just about compliance. It's about dignity and independence for people to navigate independently.
Wow, okey lah saya tengok. Sebab macam ni saya tengok dia tak adalah bulat sangat kan.
Betul.
Mak ingat yang macam kena sediakan ruang paras lah.
Oh tak, itu dah macam construction dah tu.
Betul.
Before we end, we like to express our heartfelt thankful to all individuals who contribute their time and insight during the research process, especially Mr. Akrim, the deaf community sign language interpreter. Also, Mr. Faris, the Montessori school teacher from My Cosmic Montessori, Mr. Akram, one of Tasik Shah Alam Park management team, and Ms. Nadia, product and graphic designer from Pandai, who share perspective. Their input was invaluable in shaping more inclusive design approach. We're also deeply grateful to our lecturer, Associate Professor Dr. Zainuddin Ibrahim, for his continuous guidance, constructive feedback, and encouragement through this project. His expertise helped us refine our direction and strengthen our findings. Thank you once again to everyone involved and all of you here today for listening to our presentation. We hope our project brings awareness and spark change in how we design for inclusivity and public space. Also, we hope this project contributes towards more inclusive public spaces and inspire further collaboration between designer community and institutions. Thank you.